All right, guys, welcome everyone to the FITBANKER Masterclass on the science of transformative health, right? We're here today. Many of you have joined because you've seen, you know people, you've been inspired by somebody that you know firsthand, that you trust, that's a real human being, and not just some billboard poster of an unidentifiable individual. Someone you know has taken on this challenge or program and has invited you on. So I just want to thank you for taking the time out to be here. I want to thank you guys for really giving your listening. And like I say, this is your place and this is your space. So please ask questions, right? I'm a very approachable guy. Whether you reached out to me on social media, some of you have come here because you connected to me on Instagram or Facebook and you've asked questions and I sent you the link to join this webinar. So anything that you have to ask, I love helping people. Feel free to ask. And we will be looking at what we call the transformative essentials. And I'll share with you a term we've coined called transformative health. And we'll share with you how this works. Now, before we dig right in, I have a question, an aspirational question that I would love each of you to think about. And if you have a notepad there to write this down or somehow make notes, I want you to write down, if you had optimal, like the peak of energy imaginable by you, peak of strength, right? And if you had, unlimited self-confidence, right? Which is something that participants get out of their participation in our challenge and completing our challenges by design or being part of the community. They go on to do some amazing feats, from transforming the relationship or relationship status to adventure feats they never imagined or fathomed, to things like moving career or country, a lot of things that they attribute to altering their relationship to themselves. If you could do that, what is it you would go on to do? Might be a bucket list item, might be a new adventure, might be a new hobby, or anything else that came to your mind. I'd love to hear from you, and then I'm going to have a follow-on question after that, but I want to hear, if you could, what is that thing that you would go on to do? I'm going to take 3 shares, so I would like to hear 3 of you to share. Who'd like to go? And if you're the one sharing before we click record, don't feel hesitant to share again.
I'll go again. So I don't know, actually, in terms of like an extreme, I've never had any aspirations to do anything like that whatsoever. I did a skydive last year and a fire walk, and that was like, okay, brilliant. So I don't know, I've never really thought about doing peak of the I don't know, Ronnie. I can't give you anything from a fitness extreme point of view.
It doesn't have to be fitness. It could be anything aspirational in life that you want to do that you've never got
okay.
to.
So from a self-confidence perspective, yes. I mean, definitely being like doing a TED talk, doing, anything like that where I'm at the front of the room, leading something. Yes, absolutely. That's what I would. And being, really fit and really strong would definitely power that as well. So yeah, that's what I want to do.
Amazing, beautiful. All right, who else would like to share? Please unmute yourself. If you're speaking, unmute yourself or raise your hand. Some of you have your camera off, but please feel free to share as well. Let's go, guys. It's your webinar. I want to hear what you guys want or aspire towards.
I will go, actually.
Yeah, go for it, Gauri.
What I'll do is I'll inspire others if I have unlimited energy and confidence, and I'll go for something which is challenging. Might be hiking, which I have not done it before. So really would like to explore the Earth and the planets. Yes.
Oh, amazing. We do loads of that. So make sure you stay connected and join our FITBANKER Treks WhatsApp group. Are you part of it already?
Not really. I'm
okay.
like watching it, but yes, today is my first day. So joining, listening to you face to face. So it is good.
All right. We do treks monthly, and even during lockdown, we did a social distancing trek where a number of us went to different locations and we connected by Zoom, and we completed minimum 13 kilometers and some did up to 16. And that was last Saturday. And so we're going to do one every month. And we have a couple more happening before we go to Kilimanjaro this August. So, okay, who else would like to share? One last person. Let's go, guys. One more. Welcome, Amit. Welcome, Rav.
Okay, I'll do mine. It's nothing big, and I think, like when I was younger, we've done the hiking the glaciers and we've done all that.
Yeah.
But now I've got to a stage, all I want to be able to do, I want to be able to go like on a weekly or a nightly run with my daughter. And I want to wear a bikini on the beach with my daughter and fill her with confidence.
Amazing, amazing.
That's
amazing, beautiful. Okay, so now I have one more question follow on for those three that responded. So I'm putting you three guys on the spot to answer. I have just a question. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I ask, why haven't you already? What stopped you?
Lack of confidence. Lack of confidence?
Yeah. Pauline?
A little bit of lack of confidence and too many other things happening that so it's not got to the top of the list.
Got it.
And I never had a time for myself. I never gave myself so much importance, I would say. So this is the time now.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing so authentically. So those of you, I know we've just had a couple join in the last few seconds. We're just starting the webinar and we asked what's something aspirational you'd love to do and what's in the way of that. And Pauline shared like giving a TED talk, inspiring others, and shared what's been in the way. And that was Gauri who just shared now. And Sharmi? You unmute, just unmute yourself.
Yeah, mine is just, again, lack of confidence and never given myself enough time over the last, 15 years or whatever.
And time, yeah.
It's not been about me, so.
All right, got it. Lovely. You guys have all come to the perfect webinar. We're going to share how we get to alter our relationship to a lot of those things that are in the way and really serve and empower a lot of people through their journey. So that, in case you didn't notice, is my transformation. That's me on the left and through my journey. We talk about, let's start off by looking at our body, right? This program looks way beyond the body. It looks at the body, the mind, and the intellect. And we begin to explore as we go through this program, really how and where we're limited. And we're going to look at, in today's webinar, the 5 pillars of the FITBANKER program, which is food and nutrition, exercise, sleep, which a lot of people really don't understand how powerful and valuable that is to our well-being, our mindset and mental well-being, and the 5th one is social connection. Those are the 5 pillars that we coach on the program. We will be looking at some of how this education works and makes a difference in people's lives. So the first thing to note is that our body and our health and the way we function and operating is simply a function of our internal belief system. Already some of us have said and shared how we might be stopped because we have a view around confidence. We have a view around time. We have a view around things being a priority or not, right? So there's a way that we show up in this world. There's a way that we perform in this world, which is completely aligned with our internal belief system. And so our current status quo, from our body, from our current lifestyle, from the career and everything that we're doing and fulfilling upon in our current lifestyle is a function of our current and existing belief system. And if you want to shift that, I invite you to look at 3 things that need to be revised, 3 things that need to be added to what you already have, right? And these are the 3 I's. So information. If we want to shift something or an area that we are aspiring towards accomplishing something in, we need to find available to us certain information that we didn't know we needed to discover or learn. So in the area of health, I'm going to share what new information I came across or I had to learn or discover to cause my transformation. Inspiration. So we often ask people when they sign up to the program, what is your why, right? And what is your empowering why you want to do this? And if you do not have an empowering why, or if your why is too small, right? Like, oh, I just want to get a 4-pack or a 6-pack, or, it might be something aesthetic, which is fine, right? Or I just want to lose 5 kilos, which is fine. right? But the moment you get there, your mind is like, then what, right? So the greater your why, the longer you get driven or stay committed to a particular new course of action. And the third one is that course of action, the implementation, right? So for you, knowing what to do, a lot of us may know what to do, but it's despite knowing what to do, we never seem to act upon it. And why? It's because we're left back to our own devices. Einstein says you cannot transform a mindset, you cannot transform a problem with the same mindset that created it. Most of us know what we want to solve, but also most of us know what our favorite flavor of ice cream is. And most of us know that I need to stop eating that particular food, but most of us also know, but you know what, I'm not giving up my Friday night glass of red wine, right? So it's the same mindset that's trying to solve that same issue. And implementation is really supported by, in our program, where we leverage another mind or another mindset. So we have one-to-one accountability coaches. We have myself, my wife, who run the webinars. My wife's is a doctor, she's got a doctorate in gynecology, but she coaches on a couple of webinars on the mind-body connection and our social connection and relationships, which a lot of people love. And they come as we go deeper into the program. So to create something new, we need to alter our understanding, which only shifts where our internal beliefs shift. So we're going to look at some of the things that we know or believe about us, and the things that are currently in place are keeping us where we are. And if we want to shift where we are, then we've got to look at what's going on inside of us. Now, before we go into that, I want to very quickly share my story. For some of you do know my story and have heard it before or seen me share it publicly. Those of you that are probably joining here or meeting me for the first time, I'd like to share my journey from Fat Banker to Fit Banker. So that's me in 2014, and 6.5 months later, that's me in 2015. Sorry, 6.5 months was my transformation, but those photos might be slightly different calendar dates. I started my career as an accountant. I'm from Zambia originally. I studied in Africa. I started my career in Africa. I worked in the Channel Islands for a bit, and then I got a job with JP Morgan in London. I was in banking. I was vice president at JP Morgan. I had a great pan-European career, and I did a short stint in New York. I did a number of pro bono projects through the bank in Senegal and East Africa. And it was a lovely time. I enjoyed it, and it was completely, according to me and my internal belief system at the time, the definition of success. And my view at that time of the definition of success was you got to work hard and you got to party hard, much like that image in the bottom right corner. That, of course, is not me and my colleagues. That's from the movie Wolf of Wall Street. But living that lifestyle, I wound up being this guy. And our body is simply a form of communication. It's communicating to us every goddamn day. Whether we yawn, whether we pee a particular color of pee, whether we have a certain physique, whether we feel sleepy and lethargic, whether we have heart palpitations, our body is communicating something to us. It is a phenomenal piece of communication, and it's very efficient and very effective. It tells us what's going on with us. And when I was living and had this physique, I didn't know that. And what was going on for me is I just thought, you know what? I genetically just have this body because I had proof. I saw my dad was overweight. I saw my dad and his siblings had lifestyle disease, like they were on medication for high cholesterol, high BP, diabetes. I lost my granddad to diabetes. So I just thought, you know, it's a matter of time, but I'm going right in that direction. My view was that we inherit this stuff genetically, it's hereditary, and there's nothing we can do about it. So I was very resigned about that. And I thought, you know what? I might have a short life, but I'm going to play all out in this little span of life that I have. And I'll do whatever I can. And so I did still continue socializing. I did try and take on as much adventure as I could. It was probably the first and the only adventure that I'd done in 34 years of my life, which was take on Mount Kilimanjaro, which I still did overweight at 100 kilos. In preparation for that, it took me a whole year to lose 8 kilos. But after we devised this program, I started losing 5.5 kilos a month. And that's me on the right, and we form these subconscious defense mechanisms. And for me, it was self-deprecating humor. So that's me doing the Daniel Craig pose coming out of the beach in New Zealand, and letting people know that, you know what, so what if I have this body? I can do what I want. I own it, and there's nothing much I can do in terms of transforming my body, but I will make the most of whatever my lifestyle and my money can afford for me to do. Now, living that lifestyle, and shortly after we got married, it was my wife's birthday coming up after marriage. And after our honeymoon, we hadn't been away on holiday. So I decided to book this weekend away to the Fringe Festival in Edinburgh. And Fringe Festival in Edinburgh is where there's a whole host of performers, artists, comedy, drama, the works. So really people come together there for, you know, experiencing joy and happiness. And we were there celebrating my wife's birthday, but what's more is that we were also, at that point, we were going to be 3 months pregnant. So I thought it's a perfect time for us from Edinburgh to announce to the world that we're going to be parents and to share this beautiful good news. And the future was bright and everything looked great. I had a great job, great wife, and lovely growing family on the way. Well, while we were there, everything turned 180 degrees. We had a miscarriage. We lost the little one. It was a crushing moment for my wife. It was, of course, a very crushing moment for me. And what's more is in that moment, I was not emotionally resilient. When we talk about well-being, it's not just about the physical, it's also the emotional. I was not emotionally well to be able to take care of just consoling my wife and dealing with that breakdown myself. And what happened is I ended up getting these random heart palpitations. And again, my body's communicating to me, something's not right here, or something around my body is not within our control. And I started stressing out from that. And the following day they carried on, and I ended up in hospital the next day. And I remember lying there in A&E with these ECG tests, stress tests happening on me, these patches on me. You can see on my foot, there are some patches there, and blood tests going on, blood samples being taken from me. I realized that, you know what, this so isn't the definition of success. And sat next to me was my wife. She sat right there next to me, and I'm seeing her dozing off on this chair, and I'm saying to her, just go home and sleep, come back in the morning, I'm sure everything will be all right. And I'm saying this to somebody who's just lost a baby, and now her only other family member, her husband, is in hospital, and I'm saying, go home and sleep, forget about it, all will be good in the morning. And she screams, she goes, there's no way I'm waking up tomorrow having lost another one. And it took that moment for the penny to drop for me to realize that I have to bank on my fitness because others bank on me too. And that's what the word and the definition of the term FITBANKER means, is inviting all of you guys to get connected to banking on your own fitness, because there are people that bank on your well-being too. And it doesn't mean that you have to have children or people that are financially dependent on you. It is whether you have parents, whether you work in a team or a business, whether you, the milkman around the corner, they count on you. And each of us, when we get connected to our self-worth, will realize how valuable and important we are inside the circle of people, the community that we are. And that banking on our fitness is a gift and a contribution to those around us. So that is the meaning and the definition of the term FITBANKER. But it took me having that setback to turn this around. And I believe not everyone has to go through that setback to take on their well-being. And so I started working on my health. I started researching and implementing the nutrition I'd learned from Ayurveda, from Western bodybuilding, the exercise, the sleep regime, the mindset stuff. And I began to lose 5.5 kilos a month. 3 months later, I found an online body transformation program. I threw myself in. It was self-led, so I had to lead and coach myself through the whole thing. And I ended up winning that program. And I went from a 30% body fat. This is the midway of the journey. But at the start, I was close to about 30%. And I came down, even after this program, to 5.9% body fat. And I was like, wow. You know, when you read, if you Google what body fat does Usain Bolt have, most athletes or Olympians are between 4 and 6%. And I was at 5.9%. And if me, that ordinary guy who was never grew up in sports, never selected into the school sport team, doesn't have any background or family in any athletics, could take on and understand how the body works and functions and could alter it, then anyone can. And after I did that, and doing so, sharing my journey publicly, it led to a lot of people reaching out to me. Ronnie, what did you do? How did you train? How did you do this? Can you coach me? And that was the birth of FITBANKER, which is why we exist. And today, 28th of May, 5 years later, today is our birthday exactly, on 28th May 2015. So you guys are all here for FITBANKER's birthday. And since then, when we started, I was very confronted because I thought, who am I to coach people? I'm not a sports person by background at the time. I wasn't a medical person at the time, and so on. I've since trained as a nutritionist and a PT and all other things. But when we started, these were people signing up. This was a doctor. She's a GP from San Francisco. And I'm like, damn, how come she's signing up? Because these are doctors. They should know this. This is somebody, Ali, who became part of our team. And I always tell people, when you take on your health, and we asked you at the start, what would you do if you could have that optimal health, energy, strength, and self-belief? She went into acting. She always wanted to be an actor. She took on a program. I remember when she signed up, I met her on a trek that she joined, and she said, I'm going to do your program one day, and I'm going to take up acting. And I was like, okay, got it. And she signed up. She did it. She lost 11.3. She went on to lose 20 kilos. She started acting for Western musicals. And now, after doing the course, she's now started doing screenplay and writing for theater. These guys are who I call the fit doctors. So they do this drive for men's health across the US, and they're both top urologists. They appear regularly on Fox 35 in the US. So anyone that's joining from the US, you might see them. They come in Orlando, Florida on the Fox 35 there. But they would go around campaigning for men's health, but both of them were overweight, were not physically active, and they didn't look or embody what they stood for. They came here to give a TED talk. The guy on the right gave a TED talk, and they heard about me. We met up for dinner. I explained the science of what we do to them. They started to implement it. They signed up to program. Guy on the left lost 53 pounds. Guy on the right lost 36 pounds. This is now 4 years ago. They've still maintained their physique, but now they look and feel and understand the science, and they've sustained it very well. This is a lady called Simran, did our program, was the female record holder. In 90 days, she lost 15.8 kilos. That was the record at the time. It's since been broken, and another lady lost 16.5 kilos in 90 days. To put that into context, that's 35 pounds, right? She then signed up to Kilimanjaro, and she grew up in a family and in her own family where they didn't believe her or whatever she signed up to. They looked at her as somebody that was a bit naive, threw herself into multiple things, yet didn't have the potential to do it. When she signed up to Kilimanjaro, again, she was faced with a lot of ridicule and not speaking to greatness. She did it. And 2017, when we did our first leadership summit there, every year we take people up the mountain. She did it. She was the last one to do it, but she got right up to the ultimate summit. Okay, thank you. Got it, Alicia. And this is the amazing Preeti Vegan Wonderland. Those of you that just saw us live, this is actually not even a full journey. This is at her 60-day mark, was it, Preeti? And she has since lost a total of 12.6 kilos, and she went from 25% body fat down to 13% body fat, which is just simply an amazing transformation. Sorry, that's the first month of a program. And this guy is Amir Mashkur. He's got a body type that we call an ectomorph, which means when we see and know a lot of people like this, or some of us might be this, is that on our face, facially, our body structure, we generally are lean and tall. So we disguise if we have a certain aspect of not great well-being. And so he learned about nutrition. He learned about body composition. He learned about muscle growth. And that was a transformation that he caused inside of his 90 days. Again, that photo was taken before his 90 days, so slightly under. So this is just an example of what's possible. I invite you guys to all get connected to, and like I asked at the start, what would you do if you had that unlimited potential of energy, strength, and self-belief? Now, how does this work, and how do we get these amazing results? So that's what we're going to share with you, that everything is transformable. Whether you want to transform your financial situation, your relationship status, or your well-being, there's just a set of principles we need to learn. And when you learn those, you just need to implement them. Einstein says you have to learn the rules of the game, and then you have to play better than anyone else. But in this challenge, the only person that you're up against is the old you. So we invite you to take on and create this new lifestyle that makes the old you obsolete. So let's have a look at how it works and how it's sustainable, because we completely rewire, we're causing sustainable behavioral change. We're effectively in the world of behavioral change. People think this is a weight loss program or get a six-pack or whatever that is. Those are byproducts. What we're focusing on and what we niche in and specialize in is behavioral change. Now, how do we cause the behavioral change? To do that, you have to understand why and how you have your existing behavior. So inside our brain and our mind, all the habits that we do and have out there are collectively known as a mental construct. That mental construct was formed from childhood as we're growing up, where something happens to us growing up, we have an experience and we form an interpretation about it. We then find repeat evidence that reinforces that first view that we made of ourselves, like, I'm not a runner, I'm too fat, no matter what I do, I'm not great in relationships. We look for that repeat evidence, and then we live our life through that conclusion like it is true, right? And it is completely not true. And I'll give you an example. So I am 8 years old, I'm in school, it's sports day, and they're calling through the list of sports that that people will be participating in. They call out the long run, the 100-meter race, the high jump, the long jump, the three-legged race. They call it the sack race. They still haven't called my name. They called out the egg and spoon race. They still didn't call my name. And I'm like, when are they going to call me? And then they say, we have a new race this year. It's called the memory race. And I'm like, what on earth is the memory race? And that's when they call my name. And what you have to do is you go to the start line, you walk up 5 meters to this box, you look in this box, a bunch of colorful items. Whoever can memorize the most and write them down on a notepad wins the race. And I thought, hang on, that's not sporty, that's brainy. And I made a decision that I'm not sporty, I'm brainy. And then when I make that decision, my brain, these neurons fire and they form a particular pathway. A few years later, I go to a new school and all I want to do is fit in this new school. And it's lunchtime, they're playing football, and I run to the pitch wanting to play, and they're selecting the teams, and they choose me last. And I thought, hang on, why have they chosen me last? Don't they know how good I am? And I made a decision that they've only chosen me because they needed even numbers, otherwise they wouldn't have chosen me. And they must think I'm crap at football, and I probably am. And I made a decision, I'm not athletic, and I was doing good in school anyway, so I said I must be academic. I'm not athletic, I'm academic. And I lived my life like that was true. And all my life, I tried to expose myself to anywhere that I could demonstrate my brain muscle, but I will not expose my physical muscle because I don't want to be humiliated like I was when I was 8 and 11 years old again. And I lived my life that way with a fixed connection of those beliefs about me, and it's called a fixed mental construct. And when most of us live through life like that, and that's why we never attempt to go into something that might humiliate us, expose us, cause risk or injury, and we live through life with that fixed pattern. What we're doing on this program is we're inviting you to rewire that fixed template you might have created. And to do that, we want to create a paradigm shift so that we can create a whole new mental construct. And we do that through 3 phases. The first one is awareness. We acknowledge what's there. What are those things you believe about yourself to be true? Like, I have the fat genes, I'm not athletic, some people are lucky with weight loss. No matter what I do, I'm one of the big ones. Number 2 is we replace that belief system, that existing belief system, with a whole new one that makes the old one obsolete. And the third one is the style of learning. So the way we teach is we don't just give you the answers, or we don't give you a textbook to read, because reading books doesn't cause transformation, but implementation or learning through discovery. So we will ask you, here's a list of foods you cannot eat. This is a shopping list. Good luck for the next 2 weeks. And then you have to configure, what am I going to eat for 2 weeks? And after that, we will actually then give you the meal plans. We will give you meal plans that we prescribe, that work for your body type, that work for your macros, that work for your calories, and so on. So that's just an example of the style of learning that makes it sustainable. And when you discover things, every time you've had an aha moment or the surprise factor in your life, we don't often forget those things. And so we create this new mental construct, and with this new mental construct, a whole host of new habits, actions, hobbies begin to fill our world. So let's have a look at some of the ones that I had when we look at bringing awareness. So I saw my dad as overweight. I saw myself as overweight. I made a conclusion, I am fat. When I started taking on my transformation, I had to introspect, and we ask you guys to do this on the program. What are all those things you know and believe to be true about you? And I was like, okay, I have the fat gene. And I started, now I'm going to debunk that. We ask you to debunk everything you believe about you. And we realized that, hang on, that word fat gene, I read it on the cover of a Cosmo magazine, and I Googled the fat gene, where is it? Can you operate it out? Blah, blah, blah. And I realized there's no such thing as a fat gene. There isn't a gene called the fat gene. And I'm like, damn, I've been living my whole life like that's true, and that's in me, and I cannot do anything about it because it's my dad and his family to blame, right? And when I transformed, I got to pay that back to my dad. And my dad did the program. He lost 17.5 kilos. He reversed high cholesterol. He reversed high BP. And now he's 75. He did this program at 70. And at 75, he is medication free, which I'm really grateful for. He now walks up to 7 or 8 kilometers a day. And he previously didn't walk more than 2 kilometers for the first 70 years of his life. The second one, this is my fiance at the time, my wife now. And this is our engagement party. And our engagement party, I started getting to a point with my physique and my view of myself, which was, I'm not going to get a girl better than this. And I better marry and settle down with this one because I won't be able to catch any other. And I'm joking. I was just like, why has she got this physique where whatever we go out, we eat the same foods, We eat together pizza and pasta. We drink and party the night away. But she has a lot of energy, and I feel sluggish. I feel lethargic. I feel lazy. And the next day, I've put on half a kilo, and she stays the same. And I made a decision in my mind that life is unfair, right? Some people have it, those slim bodies, and some people don't. And I was not one of those people. So I concluded life is unfair. I've just got to live with and deal with the body that I was dealt. And what I didn't realize, like we say, the 3 I's at the start, is I had to identify a piece of information that was out there that I didn't know. And that piece of information was called the science of body types. And this is one of the foundations of what our program is based on. Now, each of you, I invite you to discover and find out for yourself what your body type is. And when you sign up to the program, we provide you with a questionnaire. And in that questionnaire, that's brilliant. Somebody's just sharing their limiting beliefs. Mine are carbs are bad, carbs make you fat. So it's brilliant. Acknowledge those limiting beliefs that you guys have. So around body types, in Eastern science, Ayurveda, where yoga originates from, we learn about body types called Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And I'm a Kapha body type, which means there are certain foods I'm quite sensitive and intolerant to. But they won't be an intolerance in the sense that they won't cause any kind of IBS, or they won't cause any regurgitating my food or anything of that sort. It just shows up in my physique. It shows up in my energy. It shows up in my sluggishness and my lethargy. And then I go to the doctor thinking it's some other problem, but it's got to do with my food. And in Western science, we call it ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph, right? So Arnold Schwarzenegger, as an example, is a mesomorph. I am an endomorph. And an endomorph simply means we have a bit stocky arms, and we get a very nice barreled shape very quickly. And that's how I was 40-inch waist, and now I'm down to 31. But what I had wrong is I was never taught this in school. I never learned nutrition. I didn't take biology in high school. So I don't know where this was going to be covered and how I, as a human being, was ever going to discover this if I didn't, go to town to dig out the bits that I didn't know. And I found there are certain foods that don't work for a certain body type, because that certain body type comes with a certain metabolism, which means when I go out to a restaurant, we're all offered one menu, but we're so different and we're so unique, which brings me to the next point. How did we all end up the way we are, and we want to transform something? Is because we were all given one standardized piece of information. If you go to the .gov.uk website, or you go to the US nutritional or sporting body website, you get given one piece of information of how to eat. And we're all told to eat X amount of carbs, X amount of dairy, X amount of lentils, proteins, and so on, X amount of veg and fruit. Growing up, this used to be, you might remember this from your primary school textbooks. There was a fork and a knife on the side. It used to be called the Eat Well plate. And we were told to consume 6 to 8 glasses of water. And then the cheeky snacks have now been moved outside in the bottom left corner. And you could have those cheeky snacks a little bit once in a while. And the only distinction on this whole slide is at the bottom right by gender. And it says females should have 2,000 calories and males should have 2,500 calories. And I remember thinking, wow, we're so unique in so many ways. Why would me, who's 5'9", and Tony Robbins, as an example, who's about 7 foot, have the same amount of calories to consume? Our body will have different requirements. Why would me sat at a desk in a banking job require the same amount of calories as a bricklayer or builder working on the construction site next door? He's spending a lot more energy than me. Why would we be eating in the same cafeteria when we queue up at lunchtime to buy the same baguette and drink? And I realized, surely we're so unique, and each of you on this webinar are so unique, but you've been eating and operating inside of standardized menus and standardized patterns that have been offered to you. So we teach you transformative health. Transformative health is saying we're all so unique. So if you understand you, and then if you understand the principles of how to eat, of exercise, of lifestyle, then you can create your own customized lifestyle that really works for you. So we are unique by multiple facets, but this is only 5 I'm looking at now for today's webinar, which is lifestyle, right? Somebody with a desk-based job will have very different calorific and macronutrient requirements to somebody who works on a construction site. We teach you what's called functional eating, which means eating food that plays a function in you and a role designed to fulfill on what you're about to engage into. So if I'm going on a trek, having a bowl of oats in the morning before the trek will completely serve me, right? But if I've come back from work, like I would at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. when I was in my banking life, And 2 stations before I reach home, I would call Romeo's Pizza in West Kensington, and I would order these. Had this special, it was $7.50 for 2 amazing 7-inch pizzas, and I would add extra jalapenos, and they knew my voice when they heard me, so they'd keep it ready. I come out of the station, I grab my 2 pizzas, nice mini pizzas. I'd go home, switch on Sky News. Again, we talk about how the news has an impact on our well-being. At 11:30 p.m., I'm sat there with 2 pizzas. I kill 1,200 calories, and then I knock out on my couch, and then I wake up at 2 a.m. and I'm like, damn, shit, what am I doing? I need to go to bed. And I leave my crust of my pizza there. I'm in bed, knocked out. I wake up in the morning, 6 a.m., and the cycle continues. And what's happened there is Ronnie has just put 1,200 calories at 11:30 p.m. into his body, and that energy had nowhere else to go but to storage. And so I completely wired my body to end up a certain way. And I'll show you in a couple more slides what that looks like and how each of us have wired our metabolism to be the way it's wound up. We look at body type. So as I said, you're certain your body type, and based on that, we tell you what foods don't work for you. We tell you what foods will propel you to have more energy and strength and so on. We also have training programs that are designed around factoring in your body type and your goals, whether it's weight loss, weight maintain, and some people join our program for gaining weight because they have what's called hyperactive thyroid. We coach on multiple muscle groups. What do I mean by that? I mean, we don't just coach on the physical. We coach on emotional, mental, and spiritual as well, right? So this is really where the holistic side of what we coach on comes in. And then the 5th one is body composition. So we all have different starting points. So for me to go from 30% body fat to come down to single-digit body fat would require a very different plan than for me to maintain now, right? Some of you might already be at an optimal body composition, but you might want more energy and more strength. And so creating a program based on where you are as a starting point is what we focus on. Most of us are judging whether we're healthy based on how we look, how we feel, or what we weigh. And weight is such an old school methodology of identifying whether we're doing well or not. Because if you ask me, my current BMI, my BMI is over the healthy range. And that's because I have a certain high muscle mass. But body composition tells me that if I just judge myself by my weight, I would technically be overweight, which is not accurate. So we look at start of the program, we invite you guys to get some body composition scales. Those of you that already signed up, you'd have received an email called What Next? And in that email, there's some recommended scales that we have. If you haven't seen that, and if we're connected on some social media platform or WhatsApp, message me and I will send you a link to order your scale so that you can get it ready by Monday. And if you don't have it, that's fine. You can still get it in the first 2 weeks at any point in time. You can't manage what you can't measure. So we ask people to know, first of all, most of us have in our brain, we say, this year I'm going to get fit. This year I'm going to get in shape. This year I want to lose weight. Your brain likes specificity. So if you don't tell your brain that I want to lose 11% body fat by X date, right? That's why we have a 90-day program, because things work when our brain is processing something in a finite period and it knows what it's trying to achieve at a body composition level, then your body will conform to what the mind instructs it. But most of us never actually instruct our body. We just say, oh, I want to get in shape, I've got to be healthy, I want to lose weight. And there's no specifics in that because you don't know what that looks like. Your body doesn't know what it looks like, so you don't know when you get there, and you don't know exactly where you are. So we highly recommend checking in your body composition, and we regularly check in on that. Now, we bring accountability to the body. What do we mean by accountability? Is we record and track what goes in and what goes out. And ultimately, we're trying to create a calorie deficit, and qualitatively by eating the right macronutrients, not by starving ourselves, not by food suppression, not by skipping meals. And we do so by, unless we're fasting at a certain point in the program. And we do so by, for males, we want to get you to an optimal muscle mass of about 45%. For females, it's between 30 and 36%. And then we all need a certain amount of fat, and we have 2 types of fat in us. Some of it is essential, and most of it is excess. And so we want to get rid of the excess that we don't need, because our bodies historically were designed to be like hunters and gatherers. We were designed to store fat for when we need it. But most of us are not dealing with on a day-to-day basis or on a year-to-year basis. We're not dealing with famine, or we're not dealing with where will tomorrow's meal come from. Most of us are getting way more than we need, and we're not in the survival mode. Six-pack, here I come, definitely, Rosera. And lovely to have you on. We have somebody from LA who's joined us, and I'm really excited because this person is a very, very, very influential people in the medical field. And yeah, if you became a fit banker, it would give me so much pride, and it would be a privilege to have you on. So how do we do that accountability? Through two apps. We mainly use two apps. There are many others out there. Those of you on the program, even if you're not on the program, download these two apps. I recommend them, called MyFitnessPal and Runkeeper. Feel free to screenshot this or write notes if you're not. And there are specific settings that you need to have that will make a difference to you, not the default app settings that they come with. So MyFitnessPal is where we record energy in or food in, and we record and track everything that we take in. Now, those of you that are starting the program, this is an important point for you to note. So screenshot and circle this or write it down. Is the app will come with the default setting of asking you to consume 50% carbs, 20% protein, and 30% fat. Please change that adjustment under goals to 40% carbs and 30% protein and 30% fat. Secondly, if you would like me to review your food diary as and when you started recording your meals and tracking, change your diary settings and diary sharing to public, right? It defaults, of course, to private. And then add me as a friend. Search for FitBanker on the app MyFitnessPal. Also on Runkeeper, I'm there as FitBanker. Runkeeper is where you record your activities. Now you switch on and you switch off Runkeeper every time you're going to move or walk for more than 5 minutes or more than 500 meters. Now, why do we use Runkeeper? And when a lot of us have Fitbits, right? A lot of us might say, oh, but I have my Fitbit and I do my 10,000 steps a day, but I'm not losing weight. And the reason is that our body begins to lose fat when we create the effect of what's called a pulse raiser. And a pulse raiser only happens when we do something for a sustained time, like I say 5 minutes or 500 meters. But your step counter, when you go from your living room to the bathroom to the kitchen to the living room, which is basically most of what people are doing under lockdown, right? Those are misleading steps because they don't really contribute to what's called a pulse raiser. And so they don't really contribute so much to your fat loss. And we want to tell you how to move effectively. Your quality of your movement matters. We will also share with you once you've signed up or you're on the WhatsApp group, where if you're already on the program, you're on the WhatsApp group, we'll share with you how to connect these two apps together so that every time you move and burn some more, it increases your allowance of what you can consume in MyFitnessPal. So how do we lose fat? I'm going to share this with you, whether you're doing the program or not. It's very simple to lose fat. How do you burn a pound of fat from your body? It's very simple. You create a calorie deficit of 3,500 calories. Now, knowing that is simple, but burning 3,500 calories is not. Unless you join me for a day up Mount Kilimanjaro, which we're going on 13th of August, so you're ready to book your flights. But that's not easy to do while we're here in lockdown at home. So what do we do at home? We split that 3,500 calories across the week. So we try to lose a pound a week. It's very sustainable. And some people end up losing a kilo a week, right? So we have Preeti Pandya, who hopefully she's still on this call. In 12 weeks and 6 days, she lost 12 kilos, 12.6 kilos in 12 weeks and 6 days. So she was very much on track for a kilo a week that she was losing. And what we do is we ask everyone to create the remaining, that green one, which is shown as 864. Make sure yours at the end of each day, we want to average 500. So we ask you to aim for a range of between 300 and 800 because not every day will be the same, right? So record your food, go in accordance with the macro goals that we've asked you to do, which is 40% carbs, 30 fat, and 30 protein. And we will give you the meal plan ideas that will help you meet that. Most of us are eating some food that we think is high protein, but it also comes attached with a lot of carbs or fats. And then suddenly we find, hang on, I got to my protein, but I've blown my carb budget, I've blown my fat budget. So that's where we come in. We've spent time identifying how to redesign a meal plan that works, or we tell you foods that are better macronutritionally balanced, or we ask you to have a protein shake or a supplement that is natural, first of all, and that is healthy, that is not junk, because there's a lot of junk out there, that will help you get closer to your ultimate goal. Thirdly, like I say, we're about behavioral change. So we're coaching, and we have accountability coaches that are checking in on your habits. So we first design our habits, and then our habits make us. So let's have a look at some of them. We coach you on how to reboot metabolism. I explained this earlier, that food, when you understand functional eating, you know which foods will give you more energy and more muscle when the activity you're about to go into requires energy and muscle. Whereas in my case, I got it wrong, is I would pump myself with 1,200 calories of energy giving foods, and then I would go to sleep, and I created a body much like Fat Bastard in the bottom right corner there. And that's how I wound up, right? Because I had it completely wrong. And so those of you that do want to bulk up, we will show you how to slow down your metabolism. Those of you that want to lose weight and tone up, reduce fat percentage and increase muscle mass, we will show you how to do that. So the quality of your foods that you consume and the timing of your food intake and the quality of your exercise, how they correlate and work together, creates the byproduct, which is you and an altered body composition. And so we said at the start, and we're saying now, our bodies are simply a result. They're a byproduct. Most of us are saying, I just want to lose weight. No, what you need to focus on is, I just need to walk this distance, and I just need to eat those foods. And that's where the habit coaching comes in. And our bodies are a result of what we do before we eat and what we do after we eat. So if I went to the gym, I've torn muscle tissue, I need to consume protein after that, right? If I'm about to go on a trek, I need to think about it, and I need to say, okay, I need some energy giving food that's going to be slow burning energy for the sustainable for the period of the trek. So I would consume oats with some nut butters there, almond butter or coconut oil, and maybe some protein powder in there, and that will sustain me for my walk. So we begin to eat very intelligently and a very informed decision making before we consume something, not emotionally driven. So what we eat depends on what we just did or what we're about to do. Secondly, most of our existing diets, because of preservatives in our food, fried foods, and because of a lot of acidity, including in things like fruits, contribute to what's called an acidic body. And an acidic body is brilliant for just two things. It's brilliant for storing fat cells, and it's brilliant, they say, for thriving cancerous cells. Now, we don't want that in our body. We want to have a body that has a slightly more alkaline pH. We all have what's called a pH balance in us, and we want it to be slightly alkaline. Now, research shows a pH between 7.35 and 7.5 is where we oxidize our blood, where we experience most energy, like I am now at 40, feeling my most energetic. And we've done that because regularly, daily, almost 5 out of 7 days, I have these smoothies. And these smoothies, you can take a screenshot, and if we're connected on social media platform, message me after this, and I can send you the high-res versions of these recipes, plus more if you want, whether or not you're on the program. If you're on the program, they'll be provided to you by email. And they're designed with a makeup of 5 vegetables and 2 fruits. So we're keeping the sugar low, we're keeping the acidity low, and the alkalinity is high. And so I always tell people that, you know, plants take in carbon dioxide in the day and they give out oxygen. When you get that green leaf from those plants and you get them in you, you're getting in that oxygen. It's a rather simplistic explanation, but it's a great way to remember it. The next one is, how do we trigger fat burn? Fat burn is called thermogenesis. How do you actually trigger fat burn in your body? Most of us are we're walking, we might be doing some form of activity, we might be training, but you might find that what you're doing is you're resting too much in between, or you are going at too slow a pace. So it becomes very manageable by your body, and it's now a habit. It's now the new plateau. So it's no longer challenging for you. So we look for 3 things to achieve to trigger fat burn in your body, either during a walk, during a run, during a workout, during a HIIT routine. And this is a 7-minute HIIT workout, which if you did this 7-minute HIIT workout every morning, or 2 rounds of this, or 3 rounds of this, it's fully explained how to do it. If you take a screenshot here, then doing it with the recommended time of 40 seconds of work and only 20 seconds rest, you are more likely than not to get your body to a certain high heart rate, a certain pulse rate, certain max HR, and increase the body temperature by breaking sweat. And when you achieve those 3, breathlessness, sweating, and a pulse raiser, above 60 or above 75% specifically, you enter what's called the fat burning zone. If you have an Apple Watch, any of you, you will see that your Apple Watch shows you 3 rings. Your Apple Watch is not teaching you the science, we're teaching you the science. Your Apple Watch is telling you how many minutes you went into the fat burning zone. And if you can be in the fat burning zone for between 7 minutes and up to 40 minutes a day, you're going to be crushing it in terms of fat loss, because there is no other way your body is going to get this energy supplied to it efficiently enough or fast enough than from breaking down your stored fat cells. And so you might have heard of those workouts where you do them in the morning and they burn fat while you're at work. This is what's called a high intensity interval training. The fourth one, the psychology of what keeps us in performance, is what we call the psychology or the power of sharing. When you share what you're up to, and we coach you how to share, like today we had Preeti and Hina do, I think for if I'm not mistaken, I think for Preeti was the first live that she's done on Facebook. When you get to share where you want to be authentically a contribution to somebody, you want to inspire them, you want to empower them, you won't be triggered by questions around your ego, which is, am I being egotistical? Will somebody call me out? Will they think I'm a narcissist? Am I making it all about me? If your intent is pure, that I'm sharing people to show, look what I'm taking on, and I would love for you guys to join me on my journey, it really takes a load off your chest. That guy at 47 did our program. He lost 53 pounds. He transformed his relationship and marriage status. He got into new relationship, new wife, new baby, and now he's 50 and he's like a whole new man, whole new world that was unimaginable and unfathomable by him. And you know, this program played a big part in his transformation, and it really got him to see what internally, emotionally was not working, and his body was simply speaking volumes of what was going on inside. And so we invite you guys, and we coach you with our coaches. We empower you to be really free in sharing your journey, what you're up to, what you're learning, and sometimes even your slip-ups or your trip-ups. So just to acknowledge, we've got about 4 more slides, and this webinar is scheduled for 1:15, so we are going to be done in about 5 minutes, and then we have time for any questions. Fifth one, this is for people specifically that have signed up, and for anybody that's listening, if you consider yourself or you relate yourself as an achiever. Now, I really mean this. If you're somebody that is a high achiever in your career, in your profession, in business, you might be a great achiever in terms of how you are in relationships. You might be a great achiever in some particular performing arts. You have what's called the achiever's mindset. The achiever's mindset comes with this little gadget attached to it called the achiever's mindset trap. And the achiever's mindset trap is when you're so good in a certain field or area, and then you expose yourself to another field or area which is new to you, or which you may not find your natural talents in, and if you don't get results as quickly as you do in the other area you're good in, you might take yourself out of that field. So when you start your health transformation journey and 2 weeks in, you're messaging me and saying, Ronnie, I've missed 2 webinars. I haven't recorded my food for 5 days. Sod this, I can't do this. I'm too busy. You don't understand how important and busy I am. And you chuck your tools out and toys out the window. And you basically say, Ronnie, I'm quitting. I'm not doing this program. And our coaches are designed to come and give you crazy love. And they'll reach out to you and they'll WhatsApp you and they'll say, baby, don't go. And they'll say, let's check in. What are you dealing with? What are you struggling with? They'll have a conversation with you. They will empower you and they will bring you and invite you to be back on the program. And they will support you to be okay with your slip-ups, because we're designed for human beings by human beings. I and everyone else in the coaching body, we have multiple coaches, about a dozen coaches, have gone through their own fair share of slip-ups, their own fair share of self-sabotage, their own fair share of binge eating, their own fair share of cleaning out a whole box of chocolates, their own fair share of cleaning out a whole packet of crisps, and drinking a few bottles of red wine. We've gone through that and we've overcome that. So we know that we're dealing with real human beings, and we know how to share with them what we did to overcome what almost took us out of our game. So how do you stay in action? You need some psychological things, what we call a support structure in place. Now, there are 4 things to that we say makes a difference. There's a quote by Aristotle, which is, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act. It's not one-off act, but it's a habit. It's this repetitive thing. And to have that repetitively happen for you, we suggest 4 things that will keep you in play. Firstly, make a public declaration of what you're doing. Now, previously, this used to be a requirement with an underline of requirement for you to do the program. People could not do this program unless they publicly posted the before picture. Now, you don't need to do that. We recommend it. You don't need to do that. We still recommend it though. So if you don't do it publicly on Facebook or wherever, share it with a few friends or family, or share it on that WhatsApp group. This is my before photo. And so you share it with the people in your team and your coaches. And here I am, day one. This is my weigh in. This is my body composition. And let's go. And the number two is surround yourself with a team or community that are up to what you're up to. I remember when I was in banking and I would reach out to a bunch of my friends whose hobbies and habits were exactly like mine. Eat junk, drink junk. And I would tell them, all right, guys, I'm not messing up. I'm eating clean for the next 3 weeks. Keep me accountable. And within 2 days, we're out at a pub on a Friday night getting smashed, because we're often sharing with the wrong type of people. And so when they get a promotion or something good happens, they walk in with a box of Krispy Kremes to celebrate. And that team and community was not the one that is going to support me on my transformation. So surround yourselves with the people that are up to what you want to be up to or you aspire to be. So some of you might be in families where your own family is bringing home packets of crisps and chocolates and cake, and it's in the fridge already. And you're thinking, how am I going to do this with my family around me? Well, simply grow your family to this fit family here that we're inviting you to be part of, and join the FITBANKER family, and you'll have a team and community around you that will support you. Third one is sharing your actions and your commitment out there. So we spoke about the power of sharing. We will encourage you and support you and invite you to share, whether it's sharing your smoothie or your walk or your exercise, whatever it is. Fourth one is dangle that carrot. We always say psychologically, have something that you're working towards. So throw your hat over the wall and sign up to climbing a mountain, a marathon, a triathlon, a particular beach holiday that you want to be on and have a particular physique for, whatever it is that will inspire you to say, when that day comes, I want to be ready, right? And through the program, through the 90 days, we're going to support you with emotional eating triggers, with self-sabotage. We're going to support you with understanding the education on nutrition, on working out to burn sweat, and so on. So that said, primarily that's what the FITBANKER challenge entails. Any questions so far before I go on to the next slide? Any questions from anyone? I've been reading out your chat comments as and when they've popped up, or responding to them. If there are any questions, please.
I've got one actually, Ronnie. In terms of, you've given us loads of information here. How, and there's lots of information, which is great. How do we get that day to day? Is there, because you said there's a weekly webinar and there's a coaching call.
Okay, so I will go into that now, which was the next one, which is the design of the FITBANKER challenge is at the start, when you sign up, you get an email, and that email says what next, and it tells you a few things to prepare for week one of the program. In there, you will ascertain your body type, and I'm also going to answer Amit's question, which he asked, how do you know which foods are bad for you? And when you complete the questionnaires, we will ascertain your body type. And with your body type, there are certain foods that are not great for you. And later on in the program, we will explain why they're not good for you, because there are foods like high glycemic index carbs. And we go and study and learn about hormones. And we share about when you eat certain foods, they create a blood sugar spike. And when you have a blood sugar spike, it creates an insulin spike. When you have an insulin spike, it takes sugar out of the blood and puts it into storage. So that's one example of one category of foods that we ask you to avoid. We give you a list of them. There's 6 categories of foods we ask you to avoid. And we ask you to avoid those. And then we provide you, not at the start of the program, and it's based on your questionnaire responses. We ask you some questionnaires. We ask you in the questionnaire certain things like food intolerances you have. We ask you to paint out what your typical day and your routine looks like. We understand a bit about your lifestyle. We understand a bit about who matters in your life. Like, if you're a mom, it might be your kids or colleagues at work or whatever that might be. And based on that, we are identifying and creating a training program, or giving you the relevant one that's been pre-created, a training program or meal plans that are catered for either vegan, gluten intolerant, lactose intolerant, whatever it may be. Preeti is the one who did our vegan plan here, and we've had vegan participants for a while now. I myself am lacto-vegetarian. I'm not non-veg, never been non-veg. I don't eat meat. I don't eat eggs as well. I only have whey protein, and otherwise I'm vegan other than whey protein. We provide you with 3 training programs, one for the gym, for those of us that live in countries where you can access a gym. Number 2, we provide you with a home training plan, so you can work out from home with body weight or with minor equipment like resistance bands or a pair of dumbbells if you get hold of them, or else some kind of weight in the home. Third one is a ab routine. So, because somehow in this world, everybody wants to have sexy core and abs. And so we have a separate ab routine and program for that. There are going to be 10 webinars much like this. They're all an hour, 15 minutes, an hour to an hour, 15 minutes. And some of them, the first one and the 10th one, are about 2 hours long, because the first one we're doing introductions, and the last one we're doing acknowledgements and sharing accomplishments of what we've accomplished in 90 days. We have access to private online community on Facebook. So there's a Facebook group with all past participants where you can get to ask questions. You can see other people's posts and questions. You can see some snack ideas, and others who've previously done the program will support you, report to you. On that community, we have doctors. We've had about 12 or 13, maybe more doctors, nurses, naturopaths who've done our program, other PTs who've done our program. So you have a wealth of people with knowledge that can support you and empower you there. You have access to also private WhatsApp group, which is with your coaches, with your other teammates that are on the program, and myself. So you ask questions there, and I check in, I respond every, in sort of sporadic windows every couple of days, but the coaches are there and other participants are there. And you have access to me if you need me for something that you need to deal with. You have access to my wife as well if you want coaching around self-love, relationships, any emotional stuff, mind-body connection, which she covers on webinar 8 and 9 towards the end of the program. We do monthly treks, and during the 90 days of your window, during the treks, the ones that happen, the day treks, which means non-residential, we do 2 residential treks, those ones are free for you to join. And as mentioned, yeah, direct access to your coaching team. From time to time, we'll have coaching calls. If you have a question that requires a video demo, we might get on a Zoom call like this, and we might also stream it on Facebook. Some of you might have seen a couple that we've done in the last few days on our Facebook. Any other questions, guys?
The webinars, what day and time are they?
For this June challenge, the first webinar is on a Thursday evening at 7:30. Like I said, the first one could take up to 1 hour, 45 minutes or 2 hours. So 7:30 to 9:30 for Thursday. And thereafter, they're every Wednesday at 7:30. And if you miss a webinar live, 7:30 UK time, and we do have an international community. Remember that we have people who've done this from Australia to the US to Canada to India, Middle East, Africa. 24 countries have participated in our programs. Then we provide you with a recording. And our intention is that night you get the recording after the webinar is done, and we ask you to watch it within 24 hours so that you can start implementing the assignments. You will also have a 30-minute one-to-one coaching call with a coach that is assigned to you from week 2. Now, if you went to any counselor, any therapist, or anyone with any skill set, and you book in 30 minutes with them every week for 12 weeks, whatever the charge out rate is, it's going to cost way more than the cost of this program. I can guarantee you that, even if it's your bookkeeper. So any questions? Any more questions? Okay. We've both got Preeti and Hina here, so I'm just going to see. You have a lot of people you've inspired to be on today. There are a few questions. Sophia, thanks, Ronnie. My test code has just arrived. Okay, got it. Can you work with my time zone? Yes, Rosera, we can. We definitely can. And we also have coaches in the US. We have a coach on this program from the US. She completed the program. Her sister completed it. If you saw Pooja yesterday, that was a sister, but the coach is based in the US, so she will be able to support you. One-to-one coaching program is also something I do. That is normally $3K over 6 months, but this one is a 90-day program. It costs £1,000, and the price goes up on Saturday morning, and it's currently still at $497. What does that mean? Is that we have a few packs remaining at $497. So once those are gone, the price will go up to $697, or at midnight on Friday, it will anyway go up to $697. If you would like to sign up, it's fitbanker.com/go, and you know, it's 90 days of fun, and we would love to have you guys join and be part of the family. Do you take PayPal? Yep, that link will take you right away to PayPal. PayPal is better for me because it doesn't deduct fees, or maybe it does, I don't know. So I just wanted to share that fitbanker.com will take you to PayPal, and you can go ahead and process that. We have, as I mentioned, we have very few, maybe 2 or 3 left at that price at $497. And Hina's on. Hina, what did you pay for your program? Are you there, Hina? Is Hina there? Maybe she's had to drop. Preeti, anything you want to say? Preeti or Hina, if Hina's on, Anything you guys want to say about your program, what you learned from it, what you got from it? I can't hear you, Preeti. I don't know if you're on mute.
Sorry, I haven't got my speaker on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how many of you are on the live, so I don't want to be too repetitive, but no, it really is life transforming. I've just learned so much from it. It's more than just a weight loss program. It's certainly not that. And it's helped me in many areas of my life. You know, it's sort of the nutritional and the mind body. You know, it's the combination of various things, and it's such a good investment. The way I see it is, for the cost of a flight, which we can't take right now, you can change the whole rest of your life, and they are tools for life, and that's the way I saw it when I signed up.
Thank you. And Preeti is somebody who just finished. She's been already vegan for 2 years, and now she's a healthy vegan in 90 days. And those of you that missed her interview and Hina's, I implore you to go watch it. I want to acknowledge you again, Preeti. That was a beautiful, beautiful interview. You know, I've not queued them with answers. We did ask them and share with them some of the questions we will ask, but they shared exactly what they found out and discovered for themselves. So if you haven't seen it, check on my personal Facebook. Those of you that would like to sign up, as mentioned, please do now. There is a limited number of spaces available. And there's one question that came up. Thoughts on keto. There's a question here, which is thoughts on keto. Keto, the keto diet, those of you that don't know, keto simply means you're eating a diet which is high in fats and very low in carbs. And if you want to do keto properly, you need not go over 20 grams of carbs a day. Now, keto is just an alternate way of achieving the same outcome that we do. There is a point in our program where we introduce you to type of diets. We look at intermittent fasting, we look at keto, we look at a few other things. And we invite you, if you want to, try out doing keto for 2 weeks, and then to choose after that if you want to do it longer, or to do intermittent fasting. What I personally find with keto is that my body is carb sensitive, and while I can have some good fats, anything in excess is not good. So excess of those fats are not good. The third thing is people that do keto and cause amazing results, they also combine it with intermittent fasting. And some of my friends who do keto, they eat for a window of 2 to 4 hours, and then they eat nothing. So I don't find that sustainable. And we are a program that's designed for very busy people, which means even if you're on the go, we want to rather inform you and educate you how to make wise decisions, even from a train station or a coffee shop, and let you know what is you can or cannot order and consume from there. So I'm not personally a fan of keto. There are some people that do, and I feel that might be restrictive in terms of your access to good stuff. I also feel it's very easy to get bad fats inside you if you don't fully understand it. And the bad fats will have a long-term negative impact and effect on you, which means the choices we make between the ages of 30 to 60 will impact our well-being from 60 to 90. And so certain things like impact our blood vessels, our visceral fats, our heart condition may show up only a bit too late because you did keto for 20 or 30 years, right? And so it's also not been around that long for research to suggest how great or useful it is. So you can do it by all means, but we will tell you the right way to do it. The second way keto works is if you're consistent with it. So you can't say, today I'm doing this diet, tomorrow I'm doing intermittent fasting and eating what I want, and then 2 days a week I'm doing keto. The only things that work is where you're in a set routine. So your eating and digestion window for keto should be the same time. You should do it consistent for 3 weeks or more for you to see results. And so you can't say, today I'm having keto and tomorrow I'm not. Some people try to combine eating normal food. Today I'm eating keto because it says keto, is completely wrong. Any other questions? There's some chat coming there. Intermittent fasting works, still doing it. That's a comment from Preeti, and that's something that we do. I've had good results with keto, but it's been hardest to sustain, exactly what you're saying. And during menstruation, having that low carb doesn't work for me. And I will coach you on that. We've had certain diets and certain foods and certain body composition. When you get to it, we might tell you that you might experience irregular menstrual cycles. And we will talk about that, and we'll talk about what you need to do that. I'm going to throw this in. We've had 7 or 8 what I call FITBANKER mums. So anyone that is trying to just signed up that is Rosera signed up. Well done. I am so proud to have you in the FITBANKER family. Brilliant. And anyone looking to start or grow a family, we've had mums become mums at 41 who were struggling for 7 years after their firstborn. We've had a mum who actually removed the slide, but there was a slide on this lady who was not approved to start the IVF process because she was overweight, and a whole year later being refused or rejected, did our program. By week 10, she lost 12 kilos. She lost 8 kilos. She got approved into IVF. She wanted one more child. She ended up having twins. And because they were told they could never conceive naturally at night, they do what they do at night. And after they had their twins, they ended up getting a 4th baby. So she went from 1 to 4 babies in a 20-month window, which is one of my favorite stories out there. So just sharing that. There's another chat. Any other questions, guys? I'm here for you. Pauline just signed up. Very excited to be on the program and living a life I love. Woohoo! Come on. Well done, Pauline. Lovely to have you on. So that said, I don't know. There might be maybe one left at the mega early bird price. And if you would like to grab it, grab it. And we have one last webinar on Saturday in preparation for this program. If you've attended today's webinar, you don't have to attend Saturday's webinar. You can. If you'd like to invite somebody to join you on the program, please feel free to have anyone join you on the program. It's great to do with partners. It's great to do with family because you get to cook together and learn together. And so on that note, I want to thank all of you guys. Unless there are any more questions. Any more questions? Okay. On that note, I really want to invite you guys to really give yourselves a lot of self-love. Really get connected to your body. Is simply a vehicle, and it will allow you to fulfill on your purpose and your mission in life. And the Dalai Lama, when asked what surprised him most about humanity, answered man, because he sacrifices his health in order to make money, and then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. And then he's so anxious about the future that he does not enjoy the present. The result being that he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as if he's never going to die, and then dies having never really lived. And I experienced that firsthand when at 33 I was in hospital, and that was just a ridiculous thing to be in hospital at that time. Oh my God, and Sharmi says, and a 3rd sign up done. Woohoo! Welcome to the family, Sharmi. And I know you already know a number of FITBANKERs, so lovely to have you on. All right, excellent. To all of you guys that have signed up, or those of you that are considering and you're about to sign up, congratulations. Would love to have you on. We're really committed to human beings, and each of you that join, and those of you that might join our family later, you're more than welcome. We're committed to you and your families and empowering you in your journey. Those of you that have just signed up, I'm going to request that if you're connected to me on some social media platform, just so that you don't miss out on introductions and all the welcomes that's going on and the buzz that's happening right now in our WhatsApp group, please connect with me and send me your WhatsApp number if we're not already connected, and I will have you added to the WhatsApp group. All right, guys, lovely to have you on, and thank you all for being on, and thank you all for your time and listening. I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a powerful night, and see you all on the WhatsApp group. Bye for now. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.